Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Ariadne Papuli. I am the president of IE Entrepreneurship Club at IE University, and I'm delighted to be moderating today's discussion. When we talk about inequality, we usually talk about healthcare, education, technology, but there's another gap that we don't really talk about a lot, and it affects millions of people, and that's access to financial guidance. Today, we'll explore how AI could help change that and make quality financial advice accessible to more people and not the privileged few. To discuss this, I'm joined here by Abouali Sánchez, co-founder and CEO of Laborai, and Christian Winter, general partner at Cusp Capital. Said is building a company focused on expanding access to financial guidance at scale, while Christian brings the investor perspective on why this challenge and this opportunity matters now. Thank you both for being here. And before we dive in, I'd love to start with a quick introduction from both of you. Said, could you start by telling us a bit about yourself, Laborai, and what inspired you to tackle this challenge?
Yeah. Well, first of all, thanks everybody for your attendance. Thanks, Ariane, for the introduction. I'm Said. I was born in Valencia, my home city. I have a Moroccan origin, so my father came from Morocco. My mother is Spanish. I was born there, always with a high interest in technology. I studied aerospace engineering, nothing to do with what I'm doing right now. So I moved from aerospace to tax and financial advisory. In between, I spent some time also in great institutions, two of them for a short period of time at CERN in Geneva, working on nuclear physics. The second one, JP Morgan, also in Geneva, working in financial advisory for high net worth individuals. Then I spent 7 years of my life at McKinsey, which is the institution where I feel I belong, where I met my co-founders, my partners, and all my network of people who are very committed also to the social mission. And then, more or less 2 years ago, I started Laborai together with Edu and Pau, my dear co-founders. And now, after a year and a half and already start creating some impact on society, happy also to share this journey with Christian and Cusp Capital.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Christian, would you like to talk a bit about your background and what brought you to the space as an investor?
Yeah, my name is Christian. I am leading Cusp Capital Partners together with 5 partners. We investing in European technology companies. I am an investor for more than 20 years, and we invest mainly in the German-speaking countries, Benelux and Spain. Currently we are investing out of a 275 million fund, so searching always for the next big things.
Amazing, thank you. I'd like to ask a follow-up, because in my introduction we mentioned the financial gap that exists, and that can be a bit vague. Would you like to explain it a bit further? What exactly do we mean by that?
Yeah, so one of our core theses, what we are looking for are services, what we call for lower income consumers and workers. And the financial gap I mentioned is just the fact that a lot of people have a tight financial situation, and this has to be solved. Yeah? And our thesis is online services as we know it, as well as the internet, is built from elites for elites, for the upper 20% of the demographics, but we need to take care on the remaining 80, creating and building products and services, especially for them. Yeah.
That makes sense. And Said, would you like to give a few examples of what these people are?
Yeah, well, 2 interesting examples. First of all, today is the 3rd of June, so it's a happy day for many people in the world, because they made their salary around 5 to 10 days ago. But it's very interesting to see that 50% of the people in Europe report that they have some kind of difficulties to get to the end of the month. Mm-hmm. And if you look at this number in detail, you see that more or less 10% face extreme difficulties, which means that by mid of the month, they don't have cash to get to the end of the month. And the worst thing is that when you look at this number, it varies a lot depending on the community. For example, we are here in Madrid, so here is 12%. In the Basque Country, it's 4%. These extreme difficulties, right? So this is one example that I don't want to make anyone raise their hands, because I'm pretty sure that everybody in this table, you were not aware of these numbers, because we are part of the privileged in society that we're able to have a situation where we are not concerned about money on the 25th of the month. So, and I think this is a great example. And the second example is a bit myself, right? Because people who know me know that I have lived in two different worlds, right? So when I was young, I was born in a family where my father was unemployed, coming from Morocco and being here in the country, and my mother made a very humble salary, like close to the minimum salary. And I was born seeing my sister with 16 years old when I was 6, working as a salesperson in the fruit, like selling fruits in a small shop in the town. So I was born in a family where you could feel that it was not easy to get to the end of the month, right? Indeed, that's why I'm so grateful at McKinsey, right? Because it gave me the opportunity to grow and learn. And the second reality I lived was at JP Morgan, right? So I did JP Morgan with 22 years old, right after being at CERN. So I was one summer at CERN, the next summer at JP Morgan, serving private banking. Private banking for, I remember when I arrived on the first day, ultra high net worth individuals. So people with more than 20 million in investable assets from Latin America. Latin America also a place I really love because my girlfriend is from Latin America, from Colombia. So it's a place that I love. And I saw these people with a huge degree of support, right? You have your private banker, someone to whom you can ask any question regarding your finances. You have your financial advisor, someone to invest your assets. You have someone who take care of the structure so that your sons could have the financial well-being for a long period of time, and even a tax advisor, right, on what I'm doing with my taxes. So I live these two different realities, right, and this is a little bit where the idea comes from. So why everybody doesn't have access to this financial advisory, right? And this is a little bit how we started, and now we have more than 100,000 examples of people that we are serving in this situation. So if you want to see examples, I'm happy to have any conversation with all of you, but there are many more than what we believe.
I see. I think what you just mentioned gives us a more complete picture of the type of consumer that you're addressing with Labor AI. And talking about Labor AI, I would like you to share a bit of what it is today, where you're at as a company, and then maybe move to Christian, and he can tell us as an investor what made Labor AI different.
Yeah. Do you want to start, Christian?
Yeah, I can start. So saying this, I just want to mention, so the minimum salary, I guess in Spain is around 1,200 euro a month. And it's not our bubble who is inflected of this, but a lot of people outside. And it's challenging, especially over the last 15 years with 0% interest, and now with the inflation, which kicks additionally into that. So we are constantly looking for companies who are addressing exactly that problem. This is somehow our legacy as investors, where we come from. In our legacy, we had portfolio companies who especially served those kind of people in stationary retail, for instance. This low price fashion and textile chains like Kik or Teddy or you name it, like Ali Hop, who does it in a more posh way, but with very cheap products. And you see this is very successful in bricks and mortar businesses, but this transformation hasn't happened online so far. And so we are searching those companies, and we came across Laborai. And what makes it different from others? That's the entire architecture. So if you want to serve people who have only a very little budget, a very small amount of money to preserve or to deal with, you need to build a highly efficient structure and organization by yourself. Because margins are very tight. And so we were very impressed about this strong efficiency we saw at Laborai, also the technology backbone they developed, and I guess the entire package, these are a good foundation for serving this kind of customers. With a very efficient process, very smart, and very close to the people.
Amazing. And would you like to touch upon Said a bit more on Labor AI today, where you're at?
Yeah, right now, the main thing is, as you all know, we are trying to close this financial gap, right? Which means supporting and giving advisory and help to all the people that we can in these situations, right? So what we are doing right now in 2026 is seeing how AI can help consumers to have this access to this advisory, right? So we see AI as a tool, right, that helps solving this problem. But this is what we are doing right now. Maybe it will change in the future, right? Because the problem is in many different dimensions, right? It's in taxes, it's in credit, it's in insurances, it's in investments, it's in mortgages. So there are many different aspects of the financial life. So we are trying to work around to help in as many aspects as we can to this segment, leveraging all the tools that we have, which right now is AI.
I really like the fact that you're tackling financial advising completely, not focusing only on one part. Like, for example, taxes. I feel like that really differentiates Laborai AI. And then I would like to ask about your collaboration. So Cusp Capital recently invested 3.7 million in your company. What do you think makes them a very good partner for you?
I mean, several things, right? The first one is if you go to the website, right? One of the first things you see is digital products tailored to lower income consumers, right? So I remember when I saw that, I believe this resonates. And this is a sentence I sent to Christian. This resonates 120% with our ambition, right? This is the first thing. Second one is to give a little bit more of context. Everybody who is in the cap table of Laborai AI, everybody believes in the mission of the company, and this is fundamental. There are many people that talk about no, AI for bureaucracy, no AI for building agents that can automate this part of the things. I don't want people in the cap table that have this feeling, right, about AI in society. I want people in the cap table that says there is a problem, we want to solve the problem. Mm-hmm. The problem is complex, low income B2C, tight margins, complicated retention, high acquisition costs, all the things that we study, we don't care. I want people that say, okay, let's find a solution, because we are here to find a solution. So this is the second thing, to share the cap table with people that really believe in this mission. And the third one is when I had the first conversation with Christian, and the third point is Christian as a person, it's impressive how in minute one I felt this connection. He really believes in the mission of the company, and it's really in their DNA. I think these three things, right, being with a fund that believes in the mission and has this core thesis. Second, having a vision on the cap table that needs to share the mission and the vision of the company. And third, having a personal connection with someone that believes also in the company was fundamental for me. And some of you know, and Christian knows, I am a long distance runner. I like running marathons, and in a marathon you go through many different stages. So we have the joke that we are in kilometer 2, kilometer 3. In a marathon, you need to be resilient to the journey. And the only way of being resilient to the journey is if you really want to get to the 42 kilometer. Mm-hmm. So sharing the journey with people that has this long-term mindset, resilience, and let's go to finish the marathon all together, for me was something that made us welcome Cusp in the cap table as a core part of the company and as a sole institutional investor.
Yeah, but this is, I'm not running marathons, as you may see, but regarding this lower income mission, this is like a marathon for us as an investor. And I guess we could also already prove that we are an investor who really deploys in that type of businesses. So we did it in the past, a couple of times, very successful. 2 companies additionally from Madrid, like Libin, which takes care on housing, which is a problem which is huge also in Europe, or Payflow, who did this earned wage access, so giving people access to the money they earned in between a month, both, by the way, in Madrid. It is also a funny fact that we identify those companies here, whereas we are searching across Europe for those business models, but Madrid especially seems to be a good place for having those type of companies funded. And yeah, I guess not only the thesis is relevant, what the idea behind is, because a lot of theses you can read is just PR. So you need also to deploy and to deliver also for our investors in the fund. A lot of them invested because of this mission.
That's great. I think that at the end of the day, it's the most important to be aligned with your partners, and especially the people aspect is what drives a good company. So now, seeing how you guys collaborate very closely, I think that's very evident that you guys are very aligned. Before we kind of close off, I would like to ask more Gen Z questions. So I see that a lot of my friends, like young people, we take advice from like TikTok, from friends, from trial and error. What do you think is missing that real guidance would do differently, you know?
No, I think, well, social networks, they have many different implications, right? Some are positive, some are negative, right? And depending on how you see them. But I think social networks and TikTok, and Instagram and many other social networks, they are a potentially great tool to generate awareness, right? Mm-hmm. I think what we are missing many times is actually the execution of this awareness, right? Because I can give some advice in social network, which I think is very beautiful, right? Because you see many people commenting, I didn't know that, I didn't that. So it's a great awareness tool, but then I think what is missing, and what also we are trying to build on that is the actual execution, right? Because the actual execution, as Christian was mentioning, has a lot of complexity in terms of parts of the process, the steps, etc.
Yeah, I'm a bit older here, but 25 years ago, I created an online services who should educate women in finance questions. And it's funny, the website was really well-minded and acknowledged, and now I see a lot of women as financial influencers for women. It's much more successful because this is a gap in the gap. Financial education is one of those points which are super important. And as a father of 3 kids, I think it's a problem. This entire social media influencer financial stuff, it's a problem because it's overwhelming for them. It needs anyhow guidance which is more structured. So the very basics are missing. I guess it has to be needed to teach in school. Yeah, what is an interest? What is the meaning of a saving? What is a compounding effect on this? Which I always tell my children, it's a huge impact. It's like a miracle. If you save for 20, 30 years, also small amounts, and I see it positively that a lot of people are having an access to this kind of information. I guess it needs more guidance and it needs a very, very good foundation, and that needs to be told at school before they got this financial new media 30-second type of information snippets.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think that such things should be taught from the very beginning when you're in school, and everyone this way would have some sort of background to be able to make more informed decisions. Kind of following up on your question, and that's the last question from me, then we're going to open the floor to the audience. I would like to ask, you did mention some of the negative aspects of using social media, using some like new forms of technology, and most of the people feel comfortable with using AI today, but I would say that a lot of them are probably cautious about sharing their financial information with them. So what would you say to them for a company like Laborai?
I think everybody should type in or upload his stock portfolio to, let's say, Claude, and ask how he can optimize, and the result is amazing. It costs you nothing, and you get really a decent advice. I am a bit afraid of it because I guess a lot of standard bankers, a lot of standard products are not necessary anymore. But this is the first step to optimize. So I would everybody recommend not to be afraid of sharing this type of information. Also use this quite actively into start to optimize the own financials. Yeah? And you can have a nice discussion with the AI regarding this topic. Yeah? You can also ask how you can achieve your saving needs in 10 years, in 15 years. You got, for those simple questions, very good quality advice already, and a lot of more will come for sure in short time periods. Yeah? So we are just at the beginning of the leverage of AI in the personal lives.
Thank you so much. That's important coming from someone like you. Right now, I would like to open the floor to the audience. Are there any questions that you would like to ask to either Christian or Said?
Oh, nobody asked something? I would.
I have worked in wealth management in the United States, and I'm very unfamiliar with how it works in Europe. And I'm curious to understand what the market penetration has been at the household level for investing, and how those people have been able to adopt your software to enhance that. Not only investing, but savings and everything you've discussed so far.
In Europe?
Yes, particularly to Europe.
It's super, it depends on the country. There are huge differences in between the countries. So I am a German. The Germans are the worst investors in Europe, okay? Most of them are having a normal saving account with between 0.1 now, 0.1 and let's say 2% of yearly interest. The penetration of having stocks into your personal allocation is super low in Germany. I would say less than 20%. I'm sure you can't imagine that, but it's the truth. Yeah? So the Germans are losing money by saving on classical saving accounts a lot of upside. And that differs in the European countries. It's also because of more capital-related pensions, which we don't have in Germany, and that's so for 87 million Germans a problem, because if you have saved, let's say, 50,000 euro on your account, you're taking care on what politics wants to do with your money and your interest rates. Yeah? If you have saved nothing, or if you don't see any increase in your financial setup, you also don't take care what the politicians take with your money. Yeah? And it comes of having this financial tax in Germany of 25%, which you have to pay on capital gains, and a lot of stuff on top. On top of the 25, you have another solidarity. It's crazy, yeah? So I don't know the exactly numbers in Europe, but I guess in Germany we are among the lowest penetration in building up, let's say, financial portfolio like you know it from the US.
And, let me complement on this point, because I think it's a very interesting question that I would encourage you to look at a broader perspective, even at a broader perspective, which is, I think the first number you're asking for in Spain. Let me give a number. I think I read it a few weeks ago, so I'm not 100% sure. I'm not the data source, but I think I read it. It's 1,000 billion euros, okay, that could be invested in other assets. But this is one of the buckets, right? What I can do with the money and have on the table. But then there is a second bucket, which is many times people are not looking at that, which is how much money I could have to invest that I don't have. And for example, when you look at the tax filings, many people are not applying tax deductions because they are not aware that there are tax deductions. And this is an internal estimate from Laborai, because we have reviewed dozens of thousands of these,
yeah,
which is that there are...
And I need to add one point. It's also especially in Spain or Southern Europe, it's also because in Spain people are used to live in their own home. In Germany, people are used to rent something. Yeah? So in Germany, we have the lowest home ownership in Europe. It's only 45% of the people owning their own homes. In Spain, it's 78%. Yeah? So, and this is also the point. Here in Spain, optimizing a mortgage can release a lot of money you can save in addition. A lot of people don't take care on it because it goes for 20 years. Yeah. In Germany, people would have been adding more wealth, also more wealth to society, if we would start to buy flats instead of renting out flats. Yeah, it's also a huge safety net for your personal wealth once you're going, once you are retiring, and so on. So, but in general, Europe is super heterogeneous in how the personal wealth is set up in the different countries.
Well, thank you so much, Christian, Said, the audience, for your time and attention. I think that AI is a great step towards closing the financial gap that there is for advice in lower income groups. And I really appreciate the time and all of your insights that you shared. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.